Well, happy Monday. It's a nice sunny Monday. It's nice spring weather here in Austin, Texas. Hopefully it stays for a good portion of this month. But we're going to be talking about a Central Texas lawyer who is big mad over DPS in Austin, and he yells on Twitter a lot about this. But before we go on one of his more recent rants, here's some background to what he is complaining about. As I reset up my window here. Oh, there we go. Excellent. Excellent. Data DPS misdemeanor arrest in Austin, disproportionately Latino and Black. This is according to KXN.com. A report from Travis County Attorney Office shows 65% of the people the Texas Department of Public Safety arrested for misdemeanor in Austin since March 30 were Latino and 23% were Black. On March 30th, DPS began patrols in Austin as part of the Austin Violent Crime Task Force to assist the police department amid their staffing shortage. And the reason why we have a shortage is because a few years ago, Austin Police Department was defunded. Now there's some arguments saying that they weren't really defunded because the state stepped in and told Austin, you have to fund the police department at a certain level to retrofit that ban on the ordinance. So they weren't really defunded, but the message sent a clear message to the police that we don't respect you from the city council. And they also made this person the police chief. Austin Police Chief Joseph Catrone said that DPS priorities are an initiative to crack down on dangerous driving and violent crime. The ABCTF uses data on crashes and violence-related 911 calls to determine where DPS troopers patrol based on both ADP and DPS have said. Chief Catrone have called an initiative successful so far, previous stating that violent crime is down 58% in crime hotspots, whereas DPS is more heavily patrolled. On Thursday, about 1 month into the partnership, County Attorney Della Garza calls some of the demographic data concerning. Why? Why? Because white people aren't committing the crimes, or because the high crime rate where communities pleaded and begged Austin not to defund the police, told them to get bent? Is that why? I know you want to be soft on crime, which has seen an increase of crime overall. But when you are patrolling, showing a show of force, showing that the police is out there to be seen, crime plummets. Getting violent gangbangers off the street also has the same effect as well. Below is a breakdown of 167 misdemeanors arrests referred to her office from March 30th to April 22nd. Latino, 108, which is 65%. Black, which is 38%, which is not 38, but total 38, which is 23%. White, there's only 20 arrests, which is 12%, so I'm pretty sure they'll be charged. Asian Pacific Islander, 0.6%. It's almost like the Asian community are not really big into crime or violent crime. They may into weed and drugs, but as far as violent crimes, not so much. We have worked hard to build trust in the community of color, and we risk eroding that trust if operation between the city of Austin and DPS continues in its current iteration, Garza said in a statement. We all agree that we need to prioritize violent crime and true threats to public safety, and I hope that the city and DPS can find a way to accomplish this without disproportionately impacting communities of color. I mean, these are the same people that Austin told them to get bent when they asked for more patrols. When they voted to defund the police. Some city council members, including Jose Vasquez and Vanessa Fuentes, who both covered East Austin, have previously raised concerns about the number of patrols in their districts. Joyce James, equality or equity consultants, who work with organizations across the state, including ATP, on addressing racial inequalities, says that she sees these numbers more of an example of systematic racism and racial profiling. It's always got to have a racist slant to it, doesn't it? I'm just seeing how longer this article's going. We have to believe that there's something inherent in the design of our system and institution that have kept these outcomes in place, she said. Or it could be the culture of the Hispanic and Black community that promotes gang violence or promotes a distrust in law enforcement and not wanting to help law enforcement to keep their neighborhoods safe from historical data that paints them targeted, but they were no longer in place now due to laws in place. It's been on the book for almost 70-ish years, 60 years. In an email, ATP has said that we're working with our partners at DPS and the county attorneys and the district attorney to look at the arrest data so information can be more closely and fully analyzed and report to the public. And if it indicates that we need a pivot operation, then we'll do so. No, crime is down. Crime is going down by 58%. Clearly something you're doing is working. City council member have asked for the demographic data as well, and Mayor Kirk Wasson said that they'll have a chance to ask questions directly to the DPS in Tuesday's work section. I think they had that he issued the following statement. The information released by the county attorney office, which, while incomplete data, is troubling. Like I said before, this partnership and the continuation of collaboration that requires transparency and accountability. And I've also said that everyone in Austin deserves to be safe and feel safe, including and without question. And if you're a person of color that's stopped by the police, while the county attorney data raises important questions, it doesn't tell the whole story. It doesn't tell the story about the culture that those communities have. DPS provided an update Friday. Yeah. So this is the background. Now I'm going to show you the actual tweet from Rick Coffer. He is an attorney of the partner of Coffer and Connolly Law Enforcement, trial lawyer practicing criminal law. Let's talk about the cowardice and the courage among city leaders in regards to DPS and the Texas legislature. He really hates because people that he deems his friends, which are here illegally or during the DACA, are now being targeted and deported. But let's hear him out. And I made a response to this video as well, a response tweet thread. I have a long talk with a well-known senior leader among Austin Democrats. He shared some insights into why he thinks the Austin city leaders are doing what they're doing with DPS and the legislature. Here's his argument supporting the current Austin leadership that the Texas legislature is on perceived of screening Austin to the wall. Lieutenant Governor Patrick Contract, City of Austin leaders, related that the DPS enforcement program was coming no matter what they've said. So Lieutenant Governor conveyed to Austin city leader, either get on board or I'll hammer you. If you oppose the DPS in Austin, I'll track HB 714, creating the District of Austin onto a bill and allow a floor vote. And I'll pass it and take away your authority. It's pretty much taking away the city charter of Austin and making it into a district of Austin, which is being pushed by a lot of people here in Austin because our votes Our votes is making Austin unsafe. Our votes is electing idiots that are soft on crime, that want to defang the police, that want to take away their teeth, to allow them to not do their job properly, which requires DPS to be sent in to handle riots because they took away all of our non-lethal forces. The only thing that they left was the tasers. So they bring in the DPS to do all the dirty work and get labeled racist. So instead of fighting a DPS dragnet in Austin, they concluded with Governor Abbott and Lieutenant Patrick claimed some credit for the DPS program, even though it was going to happen no matter what they did. The announcement is that Austin city leaders would give up the partner with DPS was made without a scintia of public process or city council input. Even top county law enforcement officials were barely notified. It's usually what happens when you want to do a surprise attack on criminals. You don't show your hand until you're ready to. But these same Austin leaders thought they could take credit with their influent and white West Austin politician base, claiming that they did something about public safety in Austin. I mean, they did. They voted to defund the police. I mean, they voted with the Chris Moores of Austin and the ACAB crowd. And then now that you're surprised that DPS is coming in to clean up their mess. And then we saw the exact same rollover and play dead approach when Rep. Ellen Troxler made noise about going after Project Connect funding. I mean, I like a light rail system, but it's never going to get built. If it does, it's going to be about 15 years from now and way over budget. Instead of fighting at the legislature, Austin leaders gave up and conceded. Well, because it's a city. When the state says something, they have to obey. We don't have city-states here in the United States. The elder statements I talked to said rolling over for Governor Abbott and Lieutenant Governor Patrick was the only way to save Austin from Texas legislature by turning it into a district. I'm assuming maybe that is the case, but that dismal view of leadership and the powers of Austinite, I have deep belief that the ability for Austin to fight for what's right and good. I live in Austin and Hill Country for 23 years. I've been here for almost 40 years. I've seen the very best of those years, so have I. I've seen Austin leaders fight and win at the legislature, sure. I also seen them lose. The Uber ban is one of them. It wasn't really an Uber and Lyft ban. They wanted some standardization to go with the taxis because the taxis were being hurt. But the current Austin leaders have chosen to give up, and they chose to retreat, and they chose capitulation. They chose cowardice. Remember, bullies don't stop because their victims give up. You have to stand up and bully and fight back. Face it with the legislature bully. Austin city leaders have chose to collaborate and join the bad guys. I'm sorry, yes, I have a healthy distrust of the government, but the government wants to keep Austin safe or make Austin safer. I'm not going to be fighting against that. If rolling over for Greg Abbott and Dan Patrick creates peace for our time, it's peace, but by trampling the civil rights of blacks and Hispanic Austinites. What rights are being taken away? The future of Austin leadership should be at its crossroad. Austin needs and deserves a leadership who will fight. Austin deserves a Winston Churchill instead of we end up with Neville Chamberlain. And if your political base and political power is rooted in the wealthy white West Austin, I'm pretty sure this dude is white and wealthy because he's a lawyer. I may be wrong. He may have a spending habit. It might be easy to ignore people of color who are directly hurt by conceding to Greg Abbott and the DPS, but those black and Hispanic lives matter, even if they don't vote for you. I mean, I do agree with this statement. Regardless who you vote for, their voices matter, their lives matter. So maybe, just maybe, Austin city leaders will find a backbone and show that City Hall can do more than surrender to the Republican state officials, because right now it looks like we're going in it for the long stretch of appeasement and acquisition. Austin deserves better, and I agree, Austin does deserve better than the current politicians that have ruined our city. Now, of course, I don't know if he's going to read this. I don't know if he's going to respond to this. Hopefully my message of peace and my message of creating a safe neighborhood for all can overturn. How about you do a ride along with those brave DPS troopers to see what's really going on here? All you've done is just spout racist talking points from the Black Lives Matter group. From the safety of your office or home, there's nothing racist about enforcing the laws. The same community he claimed to be fighting for pleaded with the city to not defund the police, but wanted more patrols for their neighborhoods. The city told them to get bent. We're defunding the police. Do those voices matter? Have you spoken to them? Or just your clients? The other thing you could do, but you won't, is to change the culture in the areas that you're seeing high crime rate. You could go in and fund local leaders to change the culture and promote law-abiding lifestyle, not gang-banging lifestyle. What doesn't work is beating on let's hate the DPS drum. This only spreads divide and hatred. We need to unite the DPS, ADP, and the local community to work together to solve the crime issues. Only together we can solve this. This takes a multifaceted approach to unrooting the criminal element in our neighborhoods. This requires us working with all law enforcement. They're there to ensure our safety. So where we can walk down the street without being worried that we're going to be assaulted by a homeless person or a gangbanger or a cartel member, that we have drug-free schools because we're going to rat out drug dealers. And I'm not talking about weed drug dealers. I'm talking about fentanyl, heroin, crack, cocaine, like the real drugs. Or even prescribed drugs that they got from a prescription that they're trying to sell as a hustle. Even those. The only thing I have to say is a 58% decrease in crime due to DPS patrolling hotspots. Those are results that you cannot really question. This happened on October 27th. I don't know if I did a video. Yeah, I did do a video on this. I did this like last Thursday. DPS sees 500,000 lethal fentanyl doses in Austin while legislature is in session. Now, this wasn't part of the task force, but this is law enforcement doing what law enforcement doing to keeping us safe. 507,000 lethal doses of fentanyl in Austin, enough to kill over 500,000 people. Early Thursday morning, special agents observed a drug deal and made a felony arrest. The DPS SWAT also executed search warrants and seized 570,000 lethal doses of fentanyl. They also seized other narcotics, weapons, ammunition. Several stolen vehicles in the bus was part of the DPS Austin Violent Crime Task Force operation to assist, I guess it was, Austin Police Department. They also seized methamphetamine, cocaine, heroin, 6 handguns, 10 rifles, 2 shotguns, thousands of rounds of ammunition, thermal infrared binoculars, 3 ballistic vests, 1 suppressors. Some of the weapons were stolen. 2 motorcycles and 3 box trailers were also stolen. 2 people were taken into custody to face federal charges. Defendants told the DPS special agents that the drugs came from Mexico and the weapons were heading to Mexico later that week. The bus comes as ATP struggles to address rising crime after the city council in 2020 defunded it by over 150 million. The city, instead of redirecting some of the funding towards community organizers and other efforts, the city has since seen an increase in crime, with ATV struggling to recruit new officers to replace those who are retiring or resigning. Within the year, the police chief says the department is facing dire crisis. Citizen-led effort to fund the police through ballot initiatives were defeated by a campaign partly funded by billionaire, George Soros, and anti-police organizations. No, I really don't care about this right here. I think that's counterproductive to bring this person's name up. He doesn't even live here in Austin. He doesn't even live in this country. But like I said, the DPS are doing good work. They're enforcing laws. They're making sure that we're safe. When the city council has defunded the police after pleas from the same community that this lawyer says he's fighting for, they pleaded with them to not defund them and asked for more patrols, and their answer was to defund them. Hopefully this person does a ride along with the DPS and actually get to know the neighborhoods that he's trying to defend, to understand that they want these patrols, that they were asking the governor for patrols because ATP wasn't able to staff patrols in their neighborhood while they were patrolling downtown Austin, ACL festivals, the Dakota race, the Country Music Awards. They had no people there to do detective work or do patrols in neighborhoods where criminals were hiding. So no, I think there definitely does need to be a debate. There definitely needs to be this discussion and how we could earn the trust back from the Austin police to ensure that they are welcome here, to ensure that the city council can't defund them. But that's the thing, is it's the city council's job to earn that trust back by promoting ordinances, give them back their teeth, to say that they're welcome here. They made a mistake by defunding the police and that they're welcome here and we want them to enforce the laws. Then you have the DA to enforce prosecutions or enforce the law through prosecutions. Let the people of Austin decide whether or not that prosecution should go forward with a guilty or not guilty verdict. I understand that people don't like law enforcement. I understand that they have a history of brutality, but the issue is that sometimes a little brutality is needed to drive that message home that criminals are not welcome here in the city of Austin, instead of rolling out the red carpet and demoralizing the police. That being said, that is my video for today. I know it's kind of a little different one. It's reacting to a Twitter tweet, and hopefully someone out there has the skill set to change the culture within these communities, to promote a law-abiding lifestyle, not a criminal or gang-banging lifestyle that we're seeing that requires them to have more patrols. I don't really have that skill set. I can only say a suggestion that the culture needs to change. I don't know how to change that culture. Hopefully someone out there can change the culture and work to fix it and be more like Asian Americans. With that being said, that is my video for today. Hopefully you all had a great weekend, and hopefully, most importantly, have yourself a wonderful day, morning, or evening.